Should you go back to school to make more money? A lot of professionals I know have gone back to school in hopes of making more money. So I wanted to discuss today the pros and cons of doing this. Now, there are a lot of different types of post secondary education that you can go back to school for. Specifically, today I wanted to talk about going back to school after you've already gotten your first degree, whether this is for an MBA or a program like that. This is something I have contemplated about. Currently, I have a degree in electrical engineering, no master's degrees or anything like that. At this point, I've graduated about 5-6 years ago, so a couple of my old classmates have gone back to get their master's degrees, whether that's been in business or further into engineering. So, something that's often worried me about these programs and something that I'm thinking about when personally considering going is that the programs are about 2 to 3 years long and require a substantial amount of money to go through that program. I also worry that programs such as getting an MBA are pretty saturated. Now, everywhere I look, there's an MBA or somebody who's an MBA or knows an MBA. So I do see a lot of them out there, so I'm not sure exactly how special they can be. And that's pretty personal though, like that's for me. Now, a good way of checking to see generally if getting an MBA might be good for you is by looking at a job description of a future career path that you're interested in. So, say you wanted to be a project manager or a director of some sort, is it a requirement of that position to have an MBA or a master's degree? I think that's a really important part in deciding if you'd want to do that or not. Another thing is at the company that you work for, if it is something that they generally appreciate, they will pay for you to complete this schooling. If the company that you're working for is willing to sponsor your whole degree, then I'd say that's pretty valuable and it must be important for them for moving up the corporate ladder within that organization. So, in that situation, I do think it would be very beneficial to take the program. Now, a situation where I would hesitate to take the program is that the company I'm working for will not sponsor or pay for the program, and none of the job descriptions of the jobs I want in the future include that as a requirement. So, in that situation, I would really think about if spending this amount of money on the MBA program will be worth it in the end. Another thing I've heard of, but I have not seen in real life, is I guess some employers will give you a raise upon completion of an MBA. So that's another really good opportunity if your company offers that. Personally, I've not worked for a company that has allowed this or has offered that. So, again, just know your company policies, talk to your manager, discuss the possibilities, because I would hate for you to spend thousands of dollars on a program that won't help you get where you want to go and will end up creating more debt for you at the end of the day. Another thing that I would keep in mind is that if the sole purpose of you completing this degree, this master's degree, is to earn more money, then I would make sure that you're considering all of the different paths that you could consider to make more money. For example, are you investing? Are you maxing out all of your accounts that could give you tax advantages? The easiest and most straightforward way of making more money is by investing. So, I would highly recommend considering that before looking into these different types of programs, especially if you're the one paying for the master's program that you're in. I would really consider doing a return on investment calculation for the money that you would spend on that degree versus how much that money could have grown in the stock market. I would even recommend doing the math to see how long it would take for your new degree to pay off. So, say you got your master's degree in 2 years, how long will it take for you to see that raise in your salary? And then I would do the reverse calculation and put the amount that you would be spending on school and invest it in the stock market and see what happens there as well. And then that kind of gives you a good comparison to see if it is worth it or not. And then if your employer is paying for it, it is completely different. You have a couple other things to consider when you're thinking about pursuing this degree. The degree itself would be free, but then in your free time, that is when you generally would be doing the studying and the exams. So just keep that in mind, that you'd be sacrificing some of your free time to get that degree. So I would recommend discussing with your employer, what exactly does it look like when you get this degree? Will you get a raise? Will you get a promotion? Is there any type of guarantee for anything like that? And then just kind of weigh the pros and cons and see what makes most sense for you right now. And then just knowing what you might want to be doing in 5 years. So if your goal is to retire in 5 years, maybe you shouldn't take a 3-year program. You know what I mean? It's just kind of going to take over your life for those 3 years, and the payback won't necessarily be worth it. So just consider that as well when you're making this decision. So I hope this video helped you and gave you some different perspectives on this topic. I wish you the best of luck and see you next time. Bye.